catching the Americans out in the open and with a lot of firepower, although they do stop right there, apparently not moving further forwards. Luftlande is looking a bit for worse and what will be coming out of the tank depot. An M10. A bit surprising, since I don't really have anything except this half-track, but could be he is of the sort of type to think that, well, it does have tank destroyer in it, so it must be like a tank, right? And there we see it, one rifleman team probably going down as another howitzer barrage goes down to try and knock out my half-track. Does not work. Grenadiers moving forward, grabbing this BAR to increase their firepower, since the BAR is actually a decent LMG and can also fire on the move. So certainly advantageous. Riflemen M10 and some flamethrower engineers are moving forward. Certainly going to be nasty for the half-track, although the M10 won't do much against my infantry, but still with all of this firepower I'm forced to pull back tragically, although I do have this time a bit right since I managed to get a pack out, so that should be able to do something, but I'm careful not to rush it in since that'll mean it'll just get picked off. And I'm a bit busy seizing the eastern half, of course. Riflemen moving in and M10 moving in to support as well, although I'm of course, question is he aware it is only a tank destroyer? Will he really try to use it as a tank, or could it possibly be part of a psychological strategy, a ruse, hoping that I'll be acting as if it is a tank and just retreating instead of holding my ground and doing the best to keep it harassed and firing away at it? And we see the M10 doing a bit of a dangerous thing, moving into close quarters, which certainly means I'll be able to catch it off guard with anti-tank weapons in these close quarters. And let's go back to me, see what I'm up to. Have I gone for a doctrine? No, not yet. Panzerfaust going off in the M10. Pack sneaking in. Going to use this rather close quarter area as a nice spot to fire away at the M10, since it won't have much to maneuver and use its speed on. M10 trying to squish my Volksgrenadiers, but taking several shots. And a Panzer shot rocket right up the rear, knocking it out. And we see the half-track charging ahead, since the M10 has been dealt with and is of course over there, quickly turning the tide in the west. And the pack holding the line, although pulling back since I don't have nothing to actually protect it, and I don't want American infantry to swarm it and turn it into theirs, which would be quite a blow to me. Riflemen finding themselves isolated behind enemy lines as Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers of the 91st move in, doing a lot of damage to the erstwhile riflemen, who are now forced to retreat. We see a second rifleman team moving in, a fresh one from the barracks. And what do we see? Riflemen setting up in this building to prevent any movement and at least harass with the BARs and such. Half-track moving up, me spotting this, and perhaps, yes indeed, going for mortar to provide fire support. Grenadiers holding the line as the riflemen are charging in, using the hedges for cover. Grenade going off, although forced to pull back, and we see an MG42 a bit clumsily forgotten, meant to support here, but of course no Grenadiers to actually provide cover, pulling back here and going to open fire. First Grenadiers seizing this high munitions point, and we see me continuing my harassment here in the east. And what is this? Another M10 apparently deciding that where one failed, another one must succeed, and me spotting this. And what is this? Artillery fire. Or where could this be? Somewhere here, and attempting to knock out my MG42, but I do pull back. The M10 parking for some curious reason right here on the edge, allowing me to set up my pack in ambush and angle it so that unless he actually specifically knows where it is, he'll miss it, and it'll give my pack time to fire away. M10 having spotted the half-track pulling away in such a manner that hopefully I can use the pack to open fire. Yes indeed. M10 exposing itself. 2 shots already, moving to the side to hopefully catch the M10, but not fast enough. And there we see the half-track finally blown to pieces. Will the M10 make it out of there? Looks like it, but apparently not moving out for some reason. And we see a major assault in the west, forcing my troops to pull out. And we see another Panzerfaust from the Volksgrenadiers moving out and knocking out another M10. Apparently a lot of success with these Panzerfaust, and we see the Americans once more trying to seize the western points of strategic importance while a fresh counterattack is moving in. Grenadiers supported by an MG42 mortar moving up as well, and we see these Volksgrenadiers reinforcing and setting up. Certainly the Americans are looking a bit bled out at this moment, having settled for a very aggressive strategy, but a very broad, very aggressive one in fact, but at the same time not able to sustain the losses in the longer run, and me on the other hand not losing a lot of teams. So I have been able to keep things stable and not completely disastrous, even in the face of the M10, which I suspect might have been thrown in for psychological purposes to completely throw me off my guard. But me knowing that it's just a tank destroyer, I am not so brutally set off by it. Volksgrenadiers dealing with these engineers with flamethrowers. Volksgrenadiers moving in here as well. Large attack, counter-attack in fact setting in, and these riflemen are not looking too well. And the M10 once more rushing down the central road. Apparently intent on doing something, but I'm already on to his trick, so the pack is once more set up to fire at the rear. And successfully hitting twice perhaps, yes indeed twice, and then out of range as it moves towards him, me getting another pack as I'm starting to think, well perhaps this time he goes for a Sherman, in which case one pack won't be enough. But no. Apparently he just moves in and sets himself in front of the Krieg barracks, while I'm busy seizing the points in the west once more. Panzerschreck being equipped as well. But nothing really going on. The M10 is content at merely firing away. And what is this? A howitzer barrage going in on the Krieg barracks, hoping to stop what is there. And the crew of the pack is simply crushed under the treads of the M10 quite horrifically. Exchange between these Volksgrenadiers and riflemen. Riflemen veterancy too, but taking heavy losses. And the M10 knocked out by the pack. A bit of fighting going on here. Mortar rounds raining in, forcing the riflemen to retreat, and our American comrade is down to only 3 rifleman teams and no armor support and no engineer support either. Quite different from the very aggressive start with plenty of numbers, but I weathered the storm using, well, cover for starters and just holding the line, and of course applying pressure to different places, so he at some point was forced to actually split up his riflemen, which of course worked to my advantage. Looks like we might see a final assault. Volksgrenadiers caught in the open, trying to move in and gain the advantage of the MP40s, but they are suffering too heavily out in the open and are forced to pull back. But Volksgrenadiers and Grenadiers opening fire on the riflemen who are out in the open, and they do have the advantage of this fence and the hedges, but are forced back a bit as riflemen are moving in. Rifleman team managing another BAR, giving them 3 all in all, but German troops do pull back successfully to another set of defenses, catching the riflemen from several sides, forcing that out in the open, and of course now they are exposing themselves to fire from several sides without cover, since cover is directional, and now getting suppressed from the MG42 as well. Hedge stack of hay blown up by Panzerschreck, and we see the Volksgrenadiers snapping BAR, and there we go. The threat of the tides of riflemen has been overcome, a victory for the fatherland. So of course, what can we learn from this? Well, for starters, if faced by hordes of riflemen, do not panic, take up defensive position, stick close to MG42 and far away, and of course use cover, always use cover, use it to their best advantage, and of course don't stick up your men too closely, as in these strategies the American will most likely try to hammer in howitzer shells to try and split up any actual concentrations and strong points. So spread out your troops a bit, but don't spread them out too much either. It's a bit of a balancing act, and of course try and do what you can to seize territory while he's run away. If you can't beat away the waves of American riflemen, generally be aggressive on the counter-attack, but be very stubborn on the defense, and if he throws M10s at you, remember they're not tanks, so you don't have to treat them at them, although do treat them with some caution, but no need to necessarily run away. Half-tracks can be used as well, nicely as you saw here. Allowed me to reinforce on the field and allowed me to react quickly to threats and suppress riflemen quickly. So quite nice as well in that. And for packs, of course, you don't always have to have them at the front line. Sometimes it's better to try and place them at an odd angle for the American so that he'll get hit in the rear constantly, which is of course the advantage of the ambush ability, and of course it has a hold fire ability if you want a bit more control with that. But I hope you enjoyed the fight, and if you did, why not subscribe or tell your friends. And this is ImperialDane saying, remember to use cover. Cheers.